Hi everyone, I'm back, and that feels so good to say. I'm back with upgrades. And before I dive into my yap session that probably nobody wants to hear, here's a timestamp on screen right now that you can skip to if you want to just go on with the main subject of today's video. So feel free to do so. But basically, what I wanted to say is that I'm back, and the upgrade is that I have a new workstation laptop, which for me means that I am going to be able to make so much more diverse content so much more easily now. Um, it was it was time that I got a new laptop. My old laptop was with me for 6 whole years. A round of applause, everybody! Yes. And in retrospect, I do like to use my devices for the longest time possible. I don't like to switch a lot because I grow attached because I customize them. So I'm there with them for the long term. But it was a really needed switch and upgrade for mostly my university and my education. But this also means that I'm going to be able to make some content as a hobby now. The uploading schedule that I've planned for this channel is nowhere near a weekly high quality upload schedule. I do want to work towards something more regular, definitely, and high quality because I love putting time and effort into everything that I do. But it's nowhere going to be this professional thing that I'm going to be doing that's going to be requiring 100% of my time because my education already does that. So this is completely as a hobby, and I because I love doing this. And so, yeah, I'm very excited. I'm looking forward. Um, I also recently bonded with a friend about making content. So I hope me and her get to make content together as well. Really looking forward to all of the different things I have planned. And I hope this is just the first upgrade in many more to come. And that's basically all I wanted to say for this yap session. Um, the the hardest thing about getting a new laptop was basically having to transfer everything onto here that I actually wanted on my new laptop. And considering the things that I didn't want on it and all of that new setup, customizing it, that took me the longest and proved to be the hardest of everything. Um, I just want to show this on here. This was my old laptop wallpaper. I collaged it myself completely from scratch. I mean, obviously, the art style, not my art style, it's the original art style from Danganronpa. So yeah, but this collage is made by me from scratch just for my laptop wallpaper. And truth be told, I have something different now. I have a whole different layout for my desktop. Um, but I just want to keep this on my new laptop because, oh my god, look at this beauty. It's just something I want to keep around, you know? So, having bragged about that, we can move on to today's topic, which I think is very relevant with everything going on in the world right now. And obviously, the recent games that have been announced and being released. Some of them caught my attention because they have a female protagonist, and this is a theme on the rise. And I'm so here for it. Um, but why I'm making this video is because Silent Hill F, like it, they prosecuted this idea, this plot so good, so well that I was almost afraid that I mean, the idea of the plot is amazing, obviously. And before I continue any further, this video will contain spoilers, big, big spoilers. So, and even spoilers for Resident Evil, by the way, um, Resident Evil Village, and yeah. So, be warned. Please play this game for yourself. It's so so well made. I'm gonna stop glazing the game for a bit right now, but um, I want to say this plot could have very easily been put uh to the wrong use. I don't know how to say that. Uh, The plot, they executed it so well that I was almost afraid that if they failed in doing so, it would have been such a downhill um that was not a pun intended moment. But I love how they did I love how they made this game. Okay, so I'm gonna be moving on now. After getting done with Silent Hill F, I decided to, God forbid, go see and what the fandom thought of the game. As I thought that the game was really well made and was in true Silent Hill style. And in all honesty, it's my fault to go onto Twitter, but the first post I see on there relating to this gold mine of a game was about this guy with room temperature IQ complaining about Hinako having a censored upskirt, followed by, "Oh, this is so woke," and a screen capture of a canceled pre-order. Are we serious? A game about a minor. Hinako's like 13 to 15 in the game, and her worst fears coming to life, being married off and abandoning her identity as a whole to become a wife. That is the comment you want to make about the protagonist. Right, right, because that makes sense. And to be really honest, um, we had a bad year. Resident Evil Requiem got announced. The backlash I witnessed towards the makers for having a female protagonist, or one of the playable characters being a female, was just so appalling. We had such amazing female characters in horror and action media, let alone in general. Um, for example, in The Last of Us, Alien series, which, truth be told, is a movie franchise, but still, Until Dawn, Life is Strange, Tomb Raider, Resident Evil, Ghost of Yote, which I don't really hear people talk about, Assassin's Creed Shadows, which also it kicked up such a fuss for some, like, by some people. Well, some people kicked up such a fuss for no reason. And of course The Walking Dead, but these are just to name a few from the top of my head. I mean, I'm just so tired of women suffering and body being used to push the plot in media. It's so overused and tired at this point that this game was so refreshing and it was so well made again. I mean, I just saw snippets of the SNL bits certain actors did, actors that played in a certain Stranger Things show, driven mostly around a girl who's some sicko's morbid science project. And it's not even like they were held at gunpoint to make those unfunny, stupid, and bigot jokes. And I do think fans need to get a backbone because, I mean, your money holds power over these celebrities, and they should be more concerned about the things that they say because the jokes that some of these actors made on screen was actually appalling. I was left there sitting thinking to myself, is this supposed to be funny? Because I don't see the humor in that. Fans need to wake up and break up because some of these actors really don't like you just because you're a woman and you guys keep on giving them money. And that's not all, by the way. Oh my god, some of these fans, they don't like you like that. And it's really heartbreaking to see, obviously, because that's not the way it should be. But and obviously, it's not the fans' fault that they're acting that way. Um, but there's definitely a conversation to be had there. I mean, even in anime, I remember watching High Rise Invasion just because everyone and their mom was simping for this side character with the smiley mask. And all I remember from that show is that it was queer baiting the two girls just to fetishize them, and some upskirt shots of minors that were these girls that were like high school age at most. Like the camera angles were so awkward, they did that just for the upskirt shots, and it was so obvious. I still don't understand how people like the anime. The plot can be argued to have some potential, but the execution, the flat character writing, and overall dull pace is just so boring. I didn't even get to finish the anime if I remember correctly. And that's just like if this plot of Silent Hill F was executed that poorly, like with High Rise Invasion, I think it could have ended really badly. And I'm sure most of you heard about Dan Dan Dan. Um, in the first episode, if not the first episode, it was the second episode, but I'm pretty sure it was the first episode. The scene of Momo getting assaulted, it was just plain pointless. There was no, they did nothing. It wasn't even to drive the plot further. It was just there for nothing. I mean, and that's a minor too, and it had no purpose. They didn't dive into it afterwards. It was just there just to be there. And it was disgusting. I'm sorry. It was like this is just the top of the iceberg of this issue. And um, obviously, with the current rise and hopefully fall of generative AI, the amount of CSAM material, CSAM being made with AI is, I'm not even gonna touch on it. I cannot wait for this AI bubble to pop faster, to be really honest. It's disgusting and I'm so done with it all, if I'm really honest. Um for those who know the events of Silent Hill F will rightfully so ask, but Milky Galaxy, didn't Silent Hill F do the same, using a woman's body and objectification of a woman's body and soul to drive the plot? And I will gladly answer that for you. The short answer is no, and the long answer is also no. Um, this game stayed true to Silent Hill and the way of Silent Hill and showed us into the personalized hell of our protagonist, representing everything she feared. The detail I like the most is definitely the true ending being a good ending for Hinako as well. And I will dive into why and how later, but it was just it the true ending was also just a good ending for our protagonist. And that was really nice way to finish the game if you got that ending obviously. But of course, it wouldn't be a video mentioning Resident Evil without paying homage to my goats, Leon Kennedy and Ethan Winters. Um, as I said, Resident Evil Requiem is set to release, and it's been officially confirmed that Leon is also coming back as one of the playable characters in the same game. Rose is also one of the playable characters. As I've mentioned before, the latter has gotten a lot of backlash, but Leon coming back has also mustered some reactions from fans saying that it doesn't fit at all. To which I have to say the decision to bring back Leon, who has now matured into his later years, prime, dare I say, was actually a great idea and it fits really well into the story. And I cannot wait the to see how Leon and Rose are going to interact with each other because Rose is also really deeply tied into the story because she was obviously kidnapped by Miranda. By the way, spoilers. Hello. um, I'm so excited to see their dynamic. And obviously Grandpa Leon is very much welcome. I'm so excited to just to witness. I cannot wait for that game to release. Um but that's that will come later. And for anyone thinking James Sunderland from Silent Hill 2 is the best husbando ever, as someone on TikTok mentioned before, um, I don't know if I can put the video here because I don't know copyright reasons and stuff. But basically, the video was about how James Sunderland is a sub five wife maxer and could never compare to the true husbando that Ethan Winters is, and I so agree with that video. I mean, this man literally went through hell saving his wife. The next game, she gives birth. Man turns into a mushroom trying to look for his daughter that's kidnapped by Miranda, fighting literal giant monsters, and still shows up for her as a mushroom. Dare I say, greatest dad in gaming history, bro. It was so that that oh my god, that part where Ethan is communicating to Rose in like yeah, like you could call me a what was it now? Like a protective angel, a guardian angel. And he goes, "Sure, you can call me that." And she doesn't even know it's her dad. It was so good. Um, who might not get that title, however, is Hinako's dad, as Hinako is set to marry off into a rich household so that her dad can pay off his family debt. I, you know, when I found out that at first I thought, maybe the dad wants her to marry off because he's more of a traditional thinker and he thinks that a woman's true purpose is serving a man and her life is only fulfilled when she's with a kid and a husband. I thought that was the case. Turns out it was so much worse. How do you rack up a debt and then you're like, you know what? I'm gonna sell my daughter. I'm so baffled. Hinako is a free-minded, very strong girl that is not interested in getting married and having to leave her identity behind. In fact, this is her greatest fear, because she obviously sees her mom and her sister doing this, and obviously they have become subservient wives to their respective husbands, and especially her mom. But she still thinks really fondly of Junko, her sister. And I will come back to this later, how this is going to tie into the story. I won't cover the entire story here, but you can find all the endings and story covered by amazing creators on here. So please make sure to check that out so you know what I'm talking about. And also consider playing the game for yourself. It's really good. And the scenery is also really good. The graphs are also really good. I promise. Um we have the male figures in Hinako's life. Her dad, who wants her to get married and whom she fights with often. Shu, her childhood friend and as they call each other partner. It's said that she used to get made fun of when she was little because she played with boys, including Shu, and Kotoyuki, the fox mask, aka the guy Hinako's supposed to marry, aka the guy you're seeing on screen right now. Um, and here's the thing with Kotoyuki, Kotoyuki is a guy that Hinako saved when she was just a little girl from a fox attack in town. And Kotoyuki's family owns the Fox Shrine. They're like the most well off family in the neighborhood in Ebisugaoka. And obviously, this town uh, worships the fox gods more. Um, I will argue because the dad is out of this award ceremony, not even nominated. But from Shu between Shu and Kotoyuki, I will I can argue that Kotoyuki is the better male figure in Hinako's life, which it doesn't even matter. Like I said, it's not about the men; it's about Hinako herself. But the differences between, you know, Shu was obviously um giving her these medication, saying that it was for her headaches, um, but he was low-key trying to get her addicted to substance abuse, so she would subconsciously rely more on him to get these drugs. Um, while Kotoyuki, on the other hand, is always open. Rely on me. Let me take care of you. Take your time. Take it easy. Um, and he doesn't like. I mean, obviously, he is the guy who she's supposed to marry, but he doesn't really. I don't know. I didn't get the sinister vibes from Kotoyuki as much as I do Shu now, and that was more scary. I understood what was happening with Shu and him like drugging her after the game, which was even more scary because there was like this one part where um this fox mask guy just showing up out of nowhere and he's starting to become a little sinister in my eyes. And I'm sure that was also like the game's kind of the way that they wanted to go with this. So that, but at some point I was just thinking like what if Kotoyuki is like the bad guy actually because his fox mask was really becoming eerie to look at. But at finishing the game and then at the end finding out that oh my god, what she was drugging Hinako. Oh my god, I was just such a for me it was a really it's crazy plot reveal. And obviously um Hinako going through the dream world, well not really the dream, I'm just gonna call it the temple world because the entirety of that storyline revolves around in the temple or around it, takes place in a temple or around it. And what happens mostly is that she's going through these rituals with Kotoyuki, getting a new arm, having to carve her face out, to put on a fox mask, to this owl symbolizes obviously the ritual of a marriage. I think putting on the fox mask was Hinako um, marrying into this family and taking their last name, probably, which was also where the doll came into um, play. I mean, obviously, the doll can be argued to be Hinako in her purest form, like the most clear minded Hinako. Like, don't leave your identity behind. This is who you are. Trying to keep the temple world Hinako grounded. But also, at some point, I thought it might have been Junko because I don't think the things that Fox Hinako said about her mom, her friends, and her sister were truly her feelings and her thoughts because she is obviously on drugs. I don't think that was her sober thoughts about um, her sister that she loves greatly and her mom. I mean, obviously, I'm sure she also feels a lot of resentment towards her mom because she has been acting in this dynamic with her dad, acting like it's okay and, you shouldn't like yell at your dad. He's just a little concerned about you, like excusing his her dad's behavior. uh, I'm sure made her resent her mom a little bit, but I don't think, whatever Fox Hinako said about her mom and her sister, I don't think that was her true feelings about these people. Um, but yeah, the true ending was really nice, having Hinako decide for herself what she wants to do with her life and that she'll think about it. Both Hinako's going their own way. That was really symbolic. And I would say that also this is the last thing that I know I'm getting off track, but these letters that you can find in the dream world, not dream world, in the real world, I'm pretty sure, when Rinko and Hinako and Shu are at school and stuff, but also in other places, you can find these letters, and these letters are slowly turning erratic halfway through the letter. And when it turns erratic, it starts because the letter starts becoming mean and evil. The letter starts saying mean things about Hinako, or mostly about Hinako, but also like other aspects as well. But like the letter just becomes really mean, completely out of character to the first letter, to the first part of the letter, because it becomes erratic. Um, this can be interpreted in two ways as well, just like how Junko could have, how the doll could have represented Junko, but also Hinako herself. I think this letter, uh, I have read people interpreting it as, you know, these are the true feelings that um, these people have about Hinako, and this is like writing on paper, or this is obviously what Hinako thinks people think of her, and that's being shown on paper. I mean, Rinko, obviously in the quote unquote real world, is saying like, "Yo, um, Hinako is so masculine. You should stay with Mishu. You know, um, you know, she's so masculine." Like, oh my god! At some point, not even at some point, the first time she said that, I was so tired, bro. What do you mean she is too masculine? And I don't think that this was a I think that happened for real. I mean, obviously they're friends and stuff, but it's not far off thinking Rinko could have said that actually. Because there's also, you know, speculations that the things that also happen in the real world are also manipulated because, Hinako's still under the influence of the drugs that Shu gives her. So it can be interpreted in both ways, but I do think it has some sort of reality to it because obviously Rinko has said such things to her face. Um yeah. Also this one scene where Hinako overhears Rinko and Shu, and Rinko tells Shu, I'm just gonna say it, Hinako's dead. And that I was like, okay, but are we actually dead? Like, what? How does this tie into the story? Like, are we actually dead? Are we actually not there? Are we haunting them with our ghost? Um, but I think Rinko might have actually meant that Hinako died because she is set to marry off. Like the real Hinako that they know died because she has to leave her identity behind, leave her personality behind, leave all of her hobbies and her friends behind, and become this wife that like this put into this mold of a other person that she's not, and that's why the real Hinako is dead. And which is, I would say, it makes sense with like the last boss fight being against this fox slash bride Hinako and the real Hinako. So you know that's also a thing to consider. It could tie in, definitely. There's this one last thing. There's this one letter you can find at the beginning of the game, talking about that the fox has returned to the mountain, and that this should be no worries for the elderly, since they know and they're well versed in the traditions, and they know how to respect the fox, but that they're more concerned about the youth in the town because they're not that well versed in traditions and respecting the fox and stuff like that. I think definitely um, this is a nudge to the Kotoyuki family, or family of Kotoyuki. Um, and I think it has definitely some. There's no way there was a single letter in this game that did not have a um underlying message about what's going on. I mean, that message was obviously a nudge to um, being married off into the Fox family, and the youth that they talked about was obviously Hinako. Um, but also, it has a nudge that Hinako saved the guy she's supposed to marry off years before from a fox. So I guess that's also a thing. I also really like the fact that you could find bits and pieces about Kotoyuki and his relation, like not really his relationship with his mom, but definitely like the influence of his mom in on him as well, like how his mom was strict and stuff. It was also um really fun to get some lore into that, and obviously the place you could find it was in and around the temple, so it would definitely be tied to Kotoyuki's family. So that was so good. So why this game is different and so far removed from being misogynistic is because Hinako's suffering and pain isn't the one thing in the pile of plot drivers to drive the plot forward. Hinako's pain and suffering and her struggling with leaving her identity behind, it is the plot. And that made it so good. They could have, I mean, it was a little hard to tie the end to, oh, how this affected Shu, or how this affected Kotoyuki, or how this affected anybody else. Um it was a little hard to mess up the ending because the game was already so centered around Hinako. And I think that was so well made. Um, this is about Hinako and her suffering and struggling with substance abuse because of a man. This is her personal hell of her worst fears and her identity. This is not about some man whom they use Hinako's suffering to tell the story of. Which is why so many people, including myself, feel comfort in identifying in Hinako. This game is a good representative of the societal pressure on women. Um, and obviously, this is set in, I'm gonna say it wrong, 1968, but I'm pretty sure it's a little earlier than that. I might be wrong. I'm gonna put the correct year here, but it's a really ye olde times setting. So a lot of people might just jump to the conclusion and say like, "Oh yeah, but I'm sure it's not like that anymore. That was the old times." But I can reassure you, this societal pressure, these expectations from women are still very much accurate and relevant. And I hope that the male fans, or the people that are not familiar with this feeling, that have never felt this pressure on them before, left their seat after finishing the game, having seen what it's like. I hope this feeling that other people have felt, identifying and comfort, this feeling of comfort in this game, and in Hinako identifying us with her, I hope this feeling has been materialized for you as well. And I hope you left your desk with now grasping the idea of grasping the feeling of how horrible it is to be forced into something like that. Um, I hope you guys enjoyed this story. I mean, I really did. I hope you guys enjoyed the game. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Um, my friends will always tell you that I suck at telling stories, and I really do. So this was maybe not the best profession to choose, but I love yapping. So I had a lot of fun, and I mean, obviously, for a game like Silent Hill, it's really required to look a little deeper than what the surface may show because I mean, if there's one game franchise where I'm talking about, that is a little more in depth than just what meets the eye, it has to be Silent Hill. I mean, obviously, I've played some indie games as well with where that was the case, like Mouthwashing and all of these other games. But if I'm talking about a franchise that's like in-depth storytelling, you need to look deeper than what the meets the eye. It's definitely Silent Hill, and this game was so good. The art, oh, I can't stress this enough. I cannot stress this enough. Um, but yeah, so enjoy the rest of this speed paint a little bit longer because I'm almost done. I will definitely post the picture when it's done of of Kotoyuki, obviously. Um, somewhere here, maybe on my Instagram, you will you will see it probably maybe on YouTube Shorts, but I'm definitely planning on posting it somewhere as well. Um, and yeah, enjoy the speed frame for a little bit longer with some royalty free music, and I'll see you guys in the next video.